From a single seed to a bloom of 500 petals. A gift of nature or the hand of man? How do the nurserymen reset the peony's clocks to make them bloom in winter? Can a legendary purple bloom described by scholars a millennium ago be recreated in modern times? For the first time, the secret life of the peony is revealed. In the chill of winter, the villages of China's Central Plains enter the rest season. Sui Yueqi is in his 70s. As head of the family, he doesn't usually have to do any housework. But now in the depth of winter, with the temperature outside down to minus 10 degrees Celsius, he's boiling up a special soup. It's an annual ritual which he prepares for the most treasured member of the household. The most important member of Sui's family is going to enjoy the soup. Sui has been taking care of this member of the family for many years.
这是56年前，我在白云山黑龙潭下头，把这广播蛋挖回来，那时候才13啊。现在一晃50多年过去啊，当时俺们老婆真的孙子都12，四世同堂。
Today, Sui's peony bush is 1.7 meters tall, and the crown extends over 2 meters across. It can carry hundreds of flowers. It's the talk of the village, though Mr. Sui rarely reveals his horticulture secrets. Today will be the exception. Sui believes the tree peony needs to be carefully nurtured through cold weather, just like a person. The tree is now so large that he feels ordinary fertilizers are not sufficient to feed it properly. A single tree peony rarely has as many as 100 blooms, and even more rarely lives over 50 years. They usually flower most fully in their second and third decades. In the whole of the Luoyang area, an area famed for its peony growing, there are fewer than 10 peony trees, which are over 50 years old. A carpenter by trade, Sui is a man of few words. He has earned his fellow villagers' grudging respect for his obsession. The tree's extraordinary longevity is down to the attention Sui has lavished on it since he brought it back from White Cloud Mountain 56 years ago.
这活可说跟命一命，跟带孩子们也没有带着这活这钱，不管浇水下雨、刮风下雨，一打呼的，一下雨下冷子那半夜黑就起来运定时那运干嘛？那你都没办法呀。这背后的辛酸那只有我敢知道。
This is the color of life. In the cold and quiet of the rest season, the peony is accumulating strength and energy. Both tree and man are waiting for the moment it will flower again. More than 50 kilometers from Sui-go, another village, one famed for its peony production, is also working through its winter season. Wei Jushin is one of Tu Chao Village's most renowned nurserymen. But winter for him is very different. It's a season of frantic activity and experimentation. Wei Jushin is busy grafting new stems from different types of peonies onto a single rootstock. He is creating what is known in China as the assorted peony. It's a tricky business. The different grafts must all bloom at the same time, showing riot of variegated color and blooms. Wei needs to balance the skills of horticulturist and artist, scientist and businessman.
我从17岁接触牡丹，到现在也是25、6年。这搞实心牡丹，在洛阳来说，也是数一数3种颜色以上叫实心牡丹。可是我搞这个呢，是搞5种花子以上，5、6个品种开花的时候，它会一起开。
In the 3 months before Chinese New Year, Wei has to make up 120 pots of the assorted peony grafts. In addition, he also has to deliver another 14,000 plants to Guangzhou in the far south for their New Year Flower Festival. The competitions there draw horticulturists from all across China. Wei hopes to wow the judges in Guangzhou with a pageant of Luoyang's historic blooms. But while these constant iterations of possible genetic combinations have produced blooms of rare extravagance, some varieties lost the ability to reproduce sexually as pistils and stamens mutated into petals. Luoyang is Peony City, and there are two especially famous varieties with which it's associated. Yao's yellow peony and the Wei's purple. For some, these flowers are a lifetime's pursuit. 60-year-old Zhang Shuling is a regular visitor to Luoyang's largest flower market. Zhang has spent 30 years looking for a real Wei's purple peony. Zhang is one of Luoyang's most experienced horticulture experts. She knows all the complications of the breeding and grafting techniques. She also knows that the modern so-called Wei's purple peony is but a shadow of the legendary bloom of old. Records from the Song dynasty in the 11th century describe the Wei's purple peony as having over 700 petals. This gave it its other popular name, the flower of 1,000 petals. Today's Wei's purples have 500 petals at most. Since the Song dynasty, generation after generation of flower growers have striven in vain to recreate the original flower of 1,000 petals. Luoyang sits at the junction of the Yi and Lower rivers. It was celebrated in verse by the Song dynasty scholar Ouyang Shu as being uniquely suited to the cultivation of wonderful peonies. Modern scientific soil analysis has proved him right, with the soil containing exactly the right combination of 5 key minerals to aid the peony's growth. Almost all of contemporary ornamental peonies are the result of human intervention. It has been a long journey from the simple, ancient, single ring of white petals to the lavish blooms people see today. In those far-off days of the Song dynasty, people must have been amazed when they saw that first purple peony exploding with such an abundance of petals. But despite the best efforts of the horticulturists, it died out. Unable to produce seeds, it could only be propagated by cuttings. And in the centuries of warfare and disruption that followed the fall of the Northern Song dynasty, the rootstock was lost. Modern horticulturists, with their grafting skill, have been able to engineer an approximation of the Song dynasty flower, but none can match the natural perfection of the original Wei's purple. This year, however, Zheng has made a discovery that sets her pulse racing.
这位置，
这是位置。
对，这位置的花型，它们叶子本身在壳柱比较弱。
应该对，我看这一颗还是很像。
往那下边层次的往那边地还有。
好，你那边的还有几颗？好啊。国外品种你想要啥？
Such a rare and famous flower is beyond mere monetary value. A swap is the only way to trade.
金鸽这些我都不缺，我都不缺。
台湾金鸽你不缺，我有金刀。
金刀我不缺。
那你没事，这2天我那会儿开的正好了，你去看看。
我跟你当我跟你说，你看他比方说这火炼金丹啊，天气飞，2公这自由去了。
In exchange for some of her most precious plants, Zheng finally gets her hands on a modern Way's purple peony. But she finds that it falls far short of the supposed 700 petals. Such a rare flower needs more than mere human intervention. A September rainstorm brings some unwelcome guests. These tiny snails have a voracious appetite. For the peonies which are preparing to overwinter, their arrival could spell disaster. In her quest for the flower of 1,000 petals, Zheng has set up the perfect growing environment. This test field is over 100 square meters. Its soil has been specially enriched to provide the perfect peony growing environment. But these ideal conditions have not gone unnoticed by the snails either. Even with the benefits of modern technology, horticulturists trying to breed new plant varieties face all kinds of problems. The seasons change, and this year's flowers fade from glory. But this test site is Zheng's field of dreams. She is in no doubt of the difficulty she faces. The best she can do is inch by inch, step by step, get closer and closer in approximation to the fabled Way's purple. She has named her own latest attempt, the Lord Lao Purple, after Lao Tzu, the founding saint of Taoism. On the evening before it's due to come into bloom, Zheng is restless. Her test field sprouts with 30 years of toil and tears. All her prayers are now vested in the Lord Lao Purple.
老君子，他让老君炼丹的过程是一个漫长的过程。炼丹炉来炼丹的时候，不是红红火火，红的发紫吗？但是我觉着牡丹这个品种呢，培育它的时间可能比炼丹时间更长，所以给它叫老君子。咱那阳光太好，会把咱那牡丹晒蔫儿了。看来是吧？
At 10 a.m. the next morning, the Lord Lao reveals itself to the world. Although it looks gorgeous, its petal number is just over 500, not the 700 of the Way Purple. Try, and try again. Zheng is not daunted. She will take the modern Way's purple that she got in her swap with the other grower and use it to cross-pollinate with her own Lord Lao. There's no such thing as failure until you give up trying.
最早要3到5年开花，你才能发现3到5年才能知道里头有没有接近老位置、花形花色的新植株、个别单株。选到这样的单株了，还要3到5年形状稳定，形状稳定了，还要3到5年繁殖到一定的量。今年我已经60岁了，我希望还是在我的有生之年，我能把位置、老位置最接近老位置的品种能育出来。
In their centuries of plant breeding, gardeners and horticulturists like Zheng Shuling have created a seemingly endless variety of peonies. When Ouyang Shu came to Luoyang in the 11th century, he recorded what he saw in the record of Luoyang peonies. The names given to the flowers in the book bear witness to the esteem in which they were held. The Luoyang Folk Culture Museum tracks down and preserves all aspects of Chinese culture. And the peony has entered deeply into the daily life and culture of the people of Luoyang.
当人们这个解决了最起码的衣食住行问题以后呢，他们就要进行一些比较高尚的追求，比如说赏花。关于牡丹，为什么人们喜欢它？现在是多瓣、重瓣，甚至是像团花一样的那种像团扇那种的重复的这种花呢？这是人们刻意追求的。
Chinese people love detail. The intricacy of the flowers and the complexity of producing them are part of an aesthetic that has been the root of peony breeding for thousands of years. In folklore and legend, peonies take their place alongside auspicious animals like the phoenix as a symbol of prosperity and abundance. "890 kilometers northwest of Luoyang in Gansu province, the peony is prized in its northernmost Chinese habitat. 18-year-old Wei Yanni returns home from university in the provincial capital, Lanzhou. Her childhood memories are still fresh in her mind as her grandfather inscribes a blessing for her on a ceremonial tablet. The peonies on the wall have been happy witnesses to their family life. Then grandfather and granddaughter go up into the hills to seek out the most beautiful tree peony they can find. The tradition of hanging blessings on the tree peony dates from the Tang Dynasty around 1200 years ago. It started with scholars who were taking the imperial examinations. The final results of the imperial examination were announced in the spring. The successful candidates would ride on their horses to celebrate by admiring the springtime flowers. One poet wrote, In the pleasant breeze of a fine spring day, the successful candidates raced their horses to see all the flowers of the city. Since Luoyang was one of the Tang capitals, peonies would have featured prominently, and so the peony came to be associated with exam success. In Gansu, people often grow peonies in their yards, an auspicious flower to bring good fortune to the household. Since those far-off days of the Tang, it became a custom, when the peonies come into flower, for people to gather in their courtyards and toast the arrival of the new blooms. A peony-themed banquet with dishes and decorations to match.
这个牡丹，种了很多年，现在女儿考上大学了，有牡丹给我们带来的富贵之象的象征。所以这个牡丹呢，我自己呢，我的女儿给我，今天天气很热了，大家都会聚在一块赏牡丹，吃团圆饭，我就非常高兴，非常自豪。比牡丹比这个人人就这呀。 哎呀，我这河特月气呀，护牡丹呀。什么背着嘛刚给呀，给着人嘛给刚，让牡丹红着让人着呀，红牡丹红着嘛给刚，给牡丹的春天嘛刚。
This local folk song is a centuries-old romantic ballad. It recalls the hopes and joys of love. It's another way in which the peony has become entwined with people's hearts. After the Song dynasty, as cultivation techniques advanced, the peony became more and more a part of the lives of ordinary people. "3,000 kilometers in the opposite direction is Taipei. It's a city steeped in Chinese culture. Early mornings in the square, in front of the Sun Yat-sen Memorial Hall, are given over to traditional forms of exercise and relaxation. In a setting which can be seen repeated all over China, these ladies are taking their morning exercise by dancing to a traditional song about the peony.
台湾人我们一般哦，比方说送礼啊、结婚什么，他是把它当做一种富贵的祝福，祝福富贵，就是幸福的意思。喜欢啊，富贵花。它样子呢，像什么？很高贵啊。好高贵。高贵。高贵又美丽，像它。
Across the nation, the flowering season brings out a common sentiment. The Sea-Deep people are one of Taiwan's famed Aboriginal tribes. For centuries, they have lived by the mountain forests, surrounded by a panoply of exotic flora. But in 2013, it was a unique cause for celebration when peonies from Luoyang arrived in Taiwan for the first time. In ancient times, it may have been a first glance of such beauty that brought people and peony so close together. Since then, as China's culture spread out from the kingdoms of the Central Plains, the peony traveled with it, with settlers and traders, merchants and scholars. The peony came to be a symbol for the very nation itself. After months of preparation, Wei Juxin is setting off for Guangzhou. His dream is that his auspicious peonies will enjoy glory in the south. But it may not be plain sailing. The temperature as they leave Luoyang is -7 degrees Celsius. A 2,000-kilometer journey to Guangzhou will take them through 4 provinces and a near 20-degree rise in temperature. Guangzhou is a major horticultural center with all kinds of flowers in bloom throughout the year. But the hot, humid climate is far from ideal for the peony, which prefers a drier environment. Two days later, the tens of thousands of pots of peonies arrive at their destination. Wei hasn't had any sleep for 40 hours. Then his worst fears come true. He has lost almost 1/3 of his 120 pots of assorted peonies.
哎呀，这个你看，这个从洛阳运到广州这2天时间，你看有这些花来，你看现在都有点这个枯了。现在这个看上去的话是比较严重。
3 1,000-square-meter greenhouses are rapidly put up. Normally, the peonies would bloom in late spring. But to have them ready in time for Guangzhou's New Year Flower Festival, Wei is going to force his blooms. Dynasty. It's said that the Queen Emperor, Wu Zetian, once ordered that all the flowers should bloom in winter. The legend goes that the peony, being the only flower that didn't obey her, was then banished from the capital, Chang'an, to the secondary capital at Luoyang. The first recorded success in forcing peonies comes from the Ming Dynasty in the 14th century. The average temperature in Guangzhou at this time of year is around 10 degrees Celsius. But a sudden cold snap drops the temperature to freezing.
我说王某，来，好，走，小木梯子搬来，撞出去了，我就别拐。跑快点。我吃得劲。
Successful forcing requires exactly the right temperature at exactly the right time. This sudden drop is going to blow Wei's plans to pieces. He tries to get around the problem by rushing powerful heating units down from Luoyang overnight. He can't let the buds suffer frost strike. Then the cold retreats as suddenly as it had arrived. Now their solution to the heating problem threatens a disaster. Many of the peonies start to bloom too early, and there's still 15 days to go before the Chinese New Year. The fickle climate is a real challenge to Wei's skills. He has to find a way out. It's a full-scale emergency operation. Normally, Wei is an expert at controlling the time of blooming, but he's never experienced such dramatic swings in weather before. From freezer to furnace and back again, man and peony face a fate unknown.
顶不到春节了，现在离春节还有10天时间了。心疼人，心疼人，真心疼人。
It's the eve of the Chinese New Year in Luoyang. The city is bubbling with a festival atmosphere as families reunite and look forward to the year ahead. Shadow puppet shows were first seen in the Western Han Dynasty 2,000 years ago. They are still a popular folk art in China today. A puppet play is due to be performed in the Longmen Grottos alongside the River Yi. The play tells the story of two Tang Dynasty imperial chancellors, Li Diyu and Xu Yuanyu. Both of them wrote in praise of the peony. Xu Yuanyu grew up in a poor family, whereas Li Diyu was born into luxury. Although they had completely different life experiences, when it came to the peony, they expressed their thoughts as one. The peony took on a new character in their poetry, embodying the highest aspirations of the two great ministers. Scholars and poets observed what was happening around them and expressed their feeling by analogy to the flower. Ordinary people, equally entranced by its peerless beauty, wove its image into folk art and design. Each and every one found his or her own meaning in the peony, but above all, it symbolized hope for a better future. The Chinese New Year is the most important festival for Chinese people. It's the time to banish past grief and usher in new good fortune.
来，辛苦了，喝杯酒。你都喝多少？过年来啊，过年都有。喝半斤啊，我喝8两，我下午还喝。好，新年好，新年好，新年快乐！好。新团圆年。
看完这段回家过年的公益广告，
来吃饺子，吃饺子来！
真的有点想家了。
来，咱吃了饺子不想家了啊！
是儿子，是女儿，新春快乐，愿您欢。
来，那江河盖着他这团团圆圆过新年。好。
Only 6,000 of the 14,000 pots of peonies have come into flower, so another 2,000 pots have been rushed down from Luoyang. Carrying the prayers of their home city, Wei and the peonies await their moment of truth the next.
运气真好。
好烟雾来哦，我们走哦，
国色天香了。
花开富贵嘛，对，好意头。南方人也比较少见。
这牡丹太富贵了，牡丹是
生活也好了，富贵了。
跟个牡丹一样的。
牡丹吉祥嘛，对嘛，对，天祥嘛，对呀，这么有名的花怎么不看呢？
Wei's forced peonies brought little of Luoyang's glories to Guangzhou. The King of Flowers has a special place in the hearts of all flower lovers. But for these kings, there will be no triumphal homecoming. When the show is over, they will be abandoned to the mud and the memories of those whose lives they momentarily enriched. The seasons are on the turn on the Central Plains. Spring wakes things up in Sui UHE's courtyard. Every few days, Sui waters his beloved tree peony from the well. He believes that this natural water source is the best for his plant. The tree begins to show its appreciation of his long attentions. The long-anticipated day finally comes. Behind this veritable king of flowers is a lifelong bond between the old man and his plant. Few would know that for the first 30 years, the tree never even blossomed once. Then in 1985, it flowered for the first time, 5 blooms in total. These days, it can produce 300 blooms or more.
300多
350多。
320
啊。
我从宜川来，他是从洛阳过来。
哎呀，这不远
啊，就是想来看春家花来，就是听见这花有名，专门跑来看。
The yard is home to Sway's memories of his peony over half a century.
这一生这心血，今天上压岁，我要拜夫妇，咱不高兴，可是高兴。这个牡丹就跟我一生经历一样，这铺天上了，金鸭子山表现出来了，这是最大高兴、最大快乐，一生最快乐一天。
Each time it flowered, it was captured on film. In Sway's eyes, it's a member of his family as much as any other. No matter whether it's a quest of complex beauty, the thirst for a special moment of enlightenment, or a lifetime's dream, the King of Flowers embraces them all. In the words of the famous song scholar, Luoyang, the peony is but the one true flower. How did China's most iconic of flowers leave the Orient and conquer the horticultural world? What secret meaning does this particular flower hide? What is happening in these remote valleys? And how careful listening reveals much about those legendary 1,000-petal flowers. Please join us for the next part of The Peony.